Hey everyone, Nilo 13 here. I just got done watching Smackdown. This was a okay show. Like it wasn't as good as yesterday's Raw, but that's because it's quickly becoming the let's have Braun Strowman break everything Raw, and everyone I've seen so far in terms of reviewers, I was talking about just that for like about 10 minutes. So I'm not alone in my gushing about how freaking awesome that or the ring burst apart spot was. In terms of SmackDown, it seemed like it was business as usual. Like we had a pretty decent match or pretty decent matches. Some really good things happened. Like there were some parts I genuinely loved. There was others that I'm still kind of scratching my head, wondering where they're going with it because some of it makes sense, some of it doesn't. And first and foremost, the thing that makes a lot of sense to me was starting this segment off with Charlotte. I liked everything about this. Like Charlotte is fantastic on the mic, and I think that she's gonna play a good foil to or to Shane. If they give her time to act on this, it's gonna be a really good, really fun interaction. Kind of like how I feel that Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe are gonna be, or Kurt Angle and Braun. So Charlotte comes out or is out saying, "Okay, I've been here a week. Where's my title picture?" And she's yelling at anybody who will listen, like, "You guys realize I am Charlotte Flair. I deserve a title picture." And I actually could hear. I don't know if they will edit this out, but I could actually hear one guy in the front go, "No, you don't." I think I did at least. If I didn't, I'm just going. It might just be my thoughts coming into light. She didn't earn anything until Naomi came out and said, "Okay, well, see, the thing about you being a former Raw champion doesn't mean shit over here. Essentially, you have to beat me to even qualify." So Shane comes out and is like, "I like Naomi's idea. So Charlotte, you're gonna fight Naomi tonight, and if you win, then you're number one contender for Backlash, or for the championship, which will be next week. If not, you have to go to the back of the line like everyone else." I like that. I like how they're good. Like, she won her match this week. I'm betting there's gonna be shenanigans involved next week, or she's gonna lose clean, and that's gonna be the start of her being humbled. Which that's what we need right now. We need Charlotte to be kind of okay. I realize I messed up. Let's see how this goes. Let me get back to where I was. That will be great. So yeah, like I don't have to talk about that anymore, more than I have to. The match between Naomi and Charlotte was really good. I'm not gonna ever not like Naomi's entrance, and I think she's a great champion. She's gonna be a great champion for the rest of the time she is. So great match. But before that was the 6-pack challenge for the number one contendership for after Backlash to fight either Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt, which is looking like it's gonna be Randy Orton for the world championship after they bring the belt back permanently, because for some reason the top belt on SmackDown is in sort of a limbo. Makes no sense, but you know what? It's gonna be pretty interesting to see this develop. They had the 6 competitors were Luke Harper, Eric Rowan, Sami Zayn, not Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, Mojo Rawley and Jinder Mahal. I was thinking this whole fight. I'm like, okay, so they're probably gonna give it to Ginger, play off the fact that he won the Memorial, and they're gonna actually do something with that. That'd be interesting, and it could be a pretty like if they had like I was thinking of ways that they could do this, and it was so like I had this good idea that like they make it where Mojo wins by a fluke, or like he wins but it's an accidental win kind of. Randy Orton like just decides, you know what, I don't need this, and this would like my idea would have been like this. He would actually be a really good champion. Like everyone would be totally perplexed on like how is he doing this well. He's a joke character, and then when Zack Ryder comes back, he gets into a feud with Mojo Rawley for the world championship. I was thinking that like that would be a cool thing. Sammy, I don't see Sammy as the or as the world champion. I see him as U.S. champion first. Like nothing against Sami Zayn. Y'all know how I feel about him by now, but he needs to win the U.S. first. Like I feel like if he won that, that'll give him a bunch of the momentum he needs. Now whether it's against Chris Jericho or Kevin Owens, that's gonna be a great match. We've seen it before, and it's never a bad match. Hell, if it's against AJ Styles, that'll be a fantastic match. We've never seen that before in WWE. They might have wrestled in the Indies. I don't know their full history as well as I probably should. But so I was like, okay, so Sammy, I don't think he's gonna win. Mojo, I wanted to win. Dolph, I'm like, get Dolph away from the title belt scene. Make him just the like. We see too much of Dolph Ziggler. His current push doesn't do anything for me. So I didn't want him to win. If Eric Rowan or Luke Harper won, I would have been like, okay, maybe they're gonna go for or Bray Wyatt wins at Backlash and actually comes back to SmackDown and feuds with one of Eric. I was thinking that Luke Harper would feud with Bray Wyatt if they were to do that. That would have been pretty interesting too. Like at the end, like Luke gets rebaptized into the Wyatt family again, because this would but I'm actually kind of glad they didn't do that because of how lame that sounds coming out or saying it out loud. And then we got to Jinder Mahal. He was the odd man out for me for some reason. Like I was still surprised he's even in SmackDown. He hasn't gotten any penalty for outright knocking the heck or for concussion or giving Finn Balor a concussion. But somehow Jinder Mahal was in a title shot. I was like, okay, they need a 6-man. Why they didn't give anyone else this, I don't know. Baron Corbin would be a pretty good match. Oh well. Didn't think he was going to win. And thinking about it further, if they were going with this plan before Vince or had the Superstar shake-up an actual thing, this could have really easily been Apollo Crews. I don't know why. I see that this could have been on Apollo Crews spot, because really they weren't doing anything with him, so why not put the belt on him, see how it goes. So he was the one I didn't think was gonna win, and he ended up winning. Isn't that nice? I just realized I've been talking about this for a good 4 or 5 minutes, but yeah, I'll talk about the ending because that was where things got interesting. Sammy looks like he's setting up Mojo for the Haluva kick. It was either Mojo or Harper. I can't remember which one. But the Bollywood boys come out. and I didn't recognize them at first. I thought are those the Bollywood boys? What the hell are they doing on SmackDown? I thought they were NXT guys. I thought they were I thought they were Primo and Epico. That would have been I was like, okay, that's weird, but they look exactly the same. And either way, Bollywood boys came out or grabbed Sammy, or Jinder came out or got the pin on Sami Zayn, and now is the number one contender. And they made no mention of the Bollywood boys or at all. I think they're playing it that either he mentioned my family's wealth, so I'm thinking that Jinder probably went to in kayfabe, he went to the performance centers, saw these two just working out, said, "You two, you are with me now." And they're like, "Okay." We'll see how this goes. This could be an interesting faction. It'll be a funny faction because I could actually see them kind of butting heads a little bit. I don't know why, I just can. Then we had a beautiful vignette about Shinsuke Nakamura explaining to the casual WWE fan who this guy is and why you should be excited that he's shown up on SmackDown Live, as if everyone didn't know and wasn't already excited. Then we had a backstage segment where AJ Styles was asked, "Okay, so who would you prefer? Would you prefer Sammy or Chris Jericho or Kevin Owens?" And he goes, "I don't really care. I have the home field advantage. Raw or SmackDown is the house that AJ builds, and I'm going to win no matter who it is because I'm AJ Styles," which is true. Because I don't mind seeing AJ Styles with that belt. Then Baron Corbin comes out, says, "Well, how about this then? Since you didn't pin me last week, why don't we have a fight right now?" So that was the main event. That was a good match. Then the women's match happened. I already explained that. We had a tag team match pitting American Alpha versus, I want to say the Shining Stars, but they're not the Shining Stars anymore. They are actually just Primo and Epico. And they are actually they're going by their last name. Which, okay. You got me interested, SmackDown. I want to see where you're going with this. This is going to be an interesting thing to watch. Because Primo and the Shining Stars were hated just because they were travel salesmen. No one bought the gimmick. And I know a couple of comedian or internet reviewers. I'm talking about, of course, the Spooning one and Lil Karibo, or Martin from the Marker Mark, if you watch that instead, saying that those bastards keep sending us invitations to Puerto Rico. I don't want to go to Puerto Rico. This is actually a thing. If you don't believe me, just watch it or watch any of the reviews. It's funny as shit. But yeah, this match was actually really good. Primo and Epico won. So I guess they're heels. Because, again, really made no sense, but was a pretty good, decent match. The penultimate match was the Face of America's Open Challenge. Kevin Owens came out with I give credit to whoever is ever is behind this booking, because he's declaring himself the Face of America. And to really hammer that in, here he comes out where, of course, having the U.S. title on his shoulder, red, white, and blue vignette on the Titantron, and on the little infographic that has his name, it says the Face of America. He faces off in an open challenge against some random local. I didn't catch his name, but match lasted maybe a minute, if that. ending with a pop-up power bomb. And then Kevin goes, "You know what? I kind of like being out here. I'm gonna do commentary for this match." And I was thinking, like, what match? Oh, okay, the main event. He's gonna do commentary for the main event. That's nice. That's gonna be real. Or it's always gonna be. It's always fun seeing Kevin on the mic, and him and JBL actually got along really well. Like I know they're probably written to be, so they're both heels. Like they're gonna get along famously, but it was actually it was kind of funny. Like it was like JBL speaking on everything that I'm sure everyone knows, the controversy surrounding him. He wasn't bad today. He was really he wasn't like totally face, but not totally heel either. He was a good in between. It was like if they like I'm sure they told him to tone it down because of all the controversy surrounding him right now, but really like my whole thought right now is that don't let that take away from the fact that SmackDown is still a great show. If you don't like JBL, just mute it and pretend, or like call it in your mind essentially. Because Tom Phillips really didn't bring anything to the new or bring anything interesting to the table, and speaking on it, Byron Saxton is actually, he seems like he fits in a lot better on SmackDown. Like the only thing that was kind of awkward was Byron Saxton being reprimanded by Kevin Owens, because really we're still doing that. Like let the man become the good or the guy he's supposed to be, the announcer he's supposed to be. Let's stop treating him like he's a kid. Let's just let him do something else. He's like, other than that, like JBL was fine. Tom Phillips is always okay, in my opinion. Like he's never good, never bad. He's just okay. And then Byron was actually probably on top form today, because he had some pretty good quips with JBL and Tom, and it was actually really funny. It fell apart a little bit with when Kevin Owens came out, even though I like Kevin Owens, like I said, because I think it's because like they had to play with 4 different talking heads. The match itself, of course, both these guys are really good at in-ring storytelling. Baron Corbin is, at this point, he went from full heel to tweener, which I'm okay with. AJ's face, he deserves to be face. He's a great heel, don't get me wrong, but he's an even better face. He's kind of like SmackDown Seth Rollins. The guy you knew was a phenomenal face, but will be even better or a phenomenal heel, and is going to be even better as a face. I can't wait to see Backlash, see Kevin and him fight, and that's going to be a fun match to watch. So, that's what happened. AJ won by count out because Baron sent AJ flying into Kevin Owens, as if we didn't see that coming, and then tried to do more stuff to him on the outside. Refs counting. AJ clotheslines him that he gets knocked over the ringside into the crowd. AJ jumps in at the last possible second, wins by count out. So, like I said, overall, it's a pretty good match, pretty good SmackDown. Not as good as yesterday's Raw, which I didn't think it ever... Like, again, the 3rd week in a row, I'm actually saying that Raw is better than SmackDown. But at the same time, I'm okay with it because they're being... Like, they're actually trying with Raw now. Like, I swear to God, Kurt Angle as the GM was the breath of fresh air they needed for that show. Because it just feels different hearing his music compared to Mick Foley. I don't know why. I think another thing that helps out is that Stephanie has not been seen in 3 weeks, Instead, we got her dad and her brother on SmackDown, of course. We haven't seen Triple H in 3 weeks. I think that makes all the difference, and I'm okay with that. One more thing of note before I sign off. During the entire, during after Charlotte had the interview, or the match stipulation made and all that, Naomi, or Natalia, let's see, Natalia, Tamina, and Carmella, of course, with James Ellsworth, were actually were waiting backstage, and it looked like the entire time, they looked like they were like, okay, we're gonna jump him or jump her. It was a weird thing. They can't, the first, or because Natalia goes, okay, guys, we all want Charlotte out of the picture, so I have a plan. And I'm like, okay, what is this gonna be? Surely it's not gonna be them or her jumping them. And then nothing came of it, and it was just weird. I want them to actually do something. They're gonna do something. Because they just came back. Charlotte was just walking backstage, and they were just all there, just standing off the side like this. Hey. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? If you're gonna do something, make it interesting. If they're gonna interview him next week, I don't know, but like I said, we'll find out next week. That's about it for me right now. Like I said, decent SmackDown, not better than last week's Raw or yesterday's Raw, but we'll see how they go next week. Until then, this is Dylan 13. Signing out. Later.